Hello everyone, this is Cardmates. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Starting hand selection is a paramount priority in No-Limit Texas Holdem. A remarkable feature of the game is that we all get the same cards over the long run, while the difference is that you decided which cards to enter the game with, when, and against whom to play them. In this video, we'll examine the major factors when choosing starting hands. Let's start with the basics. In a typical live tournament, you usually see from 25 to 35 hands per hour. You will get dealt a far great number of hands in online poker. Most live tournaments last from a few hours to a few days. Choosing the right starting hands to play with and those to be folded has a considerable impact on any tournament results. Let's cut to the major factors. There are many factors to consider when choosing starting hands. Here are some of the key ones. 1. Your position. 2. Situation. 3. Were there any actions before you? 4. Who limped? 5. Who made a bet? 6. Did anyone re-raise? 7. What is the size of your stack? 8. How strong is your hand? 9. How many players are at the table? 10. What are the stack size of your opponents? 11. What types of players are at the table? And 12 and last one, what are the hand ranges of players who have already bet or called? The number of hands to play with. There are 1,326 possible starting hands combinations in No-Limit Texas Holdem. Since there are few combinations of the same hands, one can only distinguish 169 unique combinations of starting hands. Here are types of hands you will be dealt. 7.6% of all hands are of different suits. 23.5% of all hands are suited cards. In 6.9% of these cases, you get suited connectors or suited gappers. 5.9% of all hands are pocket pairs. Let's dig deeper for a better understanding of the issue. There are 6 ways to get any pocket pair. For example, here are 6 ways to get pocket aces. It means that you'll be dealt pocket aces 1 in every 221 hands, or slightly less than 0.5%. The same holds for any other pocket pair. Multiply that number by 13 to see how often you get any pocket pair in the preflop. Thereby 6 multiplied by 13 is equals 78 hands, divided by 1,326 is equals 5.9%. You will be dealt a pocket pair in 5.9% of the cases. This is roughly 1 in every 17 hands. There are 4 ways to get suited cards. For example, here are 4 ways to get suited Ace-King. Ace-King of Hearts, Ace-King of Spades, Ace-King of Clubs, and Ace-Kings of Diamonds. The same holds true for all other suited cards. There are 12 ways to be dealt offsuit cards. Cards of different suits. For example, here are 12 ways to get Ace-King of Suit. The same is true for all offsuit hands. How many starting hands should you play? Before going any further, it's worth noting that there is, quite simple, no clear answer to the question of how many starting hands you should play. No-Limit Texas Holdem is a game of situations, flexibility, adaptability, and unpredictability, not a game of tough and fast rules. However, it's important to know the value of the cards and understand how to play them. Chats of starting hands are very useful, especially for beginners and intermediate poker players. For advanced players, these chats can be a good reminder of the value of the cards. There are various charts of starting hands which you can find on the internet, for example, on Cardmates. And as a reminder, always choose the chart that is best suited for you and only for you. Potential starting hands in No-Limit Texas Holdem poker tournaments. Range 1. Super premium hands. Pair of aces, pair of kings, pair of queens. You'll be dealt hands from this range in 1.4% of the cases, based on the following formula. 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18, divided by 1,326 equals 1.4%. The same type of calculation holds for all other starting hands. Here's an overview of potential starting hands and the percentage of cases you get them. Range 1. Super premium hands, 1.4%. Range 2. Premium hands, 2.4%. Range 3. Strong hands, 4.2%. Range 4. very good hands, 6.9%. Range 5, speculative hands, 7.9%. Range 6 and the last one, highly speculative hands, 19.9%. Total, 42.7%. The percentage of remaining cards is 57.3% of 169 starting hands combinations. Super premium, premium, and strong hands account for only 8% of all possible starting hands. If you open the top 5 hands, then you enter the game with 22.7% of all possible hands. Even if you're willing to play with the top 5 range, you won't always be able to play with them. There can be some problems that will make you fold your hands, namely, other players, raisers and re-raisers, the size of your stack is not big enough, you are in an earlier position at the loose aggressive table. It's better to play some hands in late positions. Everyone serious about the game chooses a range of hand that suits him. This range constantly changes even during one game. Over time, the range adjustment is carried out based on the experience, study, and constant choice of hands that will give you a maximum flexibility for increasing your stack and minimizing losses. Range determination. It's very important to know the range of hands which you will play, and it's equally important to know the range of hands that your opponents are ready to play. The range depends on the player's type you play against. Every player has a range, and this range changes depending on the player's mood and how the others play. It changes depending on his stack and much more. Range flexibility. The range chosen by the player won't exactly match with the range shown in the chats. As mentioned above, these chats are primarily intended for beginners and intermediate players to help them to remember which hands to play with. The more advanced the player is, the more difficult the process of choosing a hand. Flexibility in hands choosing. It's very important to have a general betting range. However, poker is an incredibly complicated game. Here are some things that complicate hand selection. The flexibility in your range due to position, stack size, opponent's range, and other aspects. As noted above, you may not always be able to play your chosen range. This is a vital reason to play in other situations, as well as a vital reason why bluffing is so important in tournaments. In addition, the constant adjustment to others' players' possible actions can help you avoid getting into trouble, as well as help to make a great success in tournaments. Range advantage. Range advantage means that your range is tighter than your opponent's one. For example, if you're a tight aggressive player with a range of 15 to 20% hands, and your opponent is a loose aggressive player with a range of 30 to 40% hands or more, then you have a range advantage of about 15 to 20% or more. Selecting your own range. There are many factors to consider when choosing your own range. Let's consider some of the key factors. If a loose aggressive player tries to confuse people with his big and frequent bets, think of your range advantage. As noted above, some super loose aggressive players with a range of 30 to 40% or more will make big bets at the beginning of the tournament in an attempt to build a big stack and intimidate their opponents. For today, this is a common phenomenon, especially in the low buy-in tournaments and free rolls. This sometimes works against weak opponents. However, the range advantage can be used against them because their range is very wide. Many inexperienced players folded their hands to their big bets or continuation bets, which these players do on the flop. Nevertheless, you can combat this behavior with those hands when you have a range advantage. For example, you have Ajax suited on the button at the 9 max table. This is a great hand. It's in the 4% of hands that are in the highest range. If a loose aggressive player raises 4 to 6 blinds at the beginning of the tournament, you may consider calling, especially in position. Perhaps you prefer calling the continuation bet even if you miss the flop, as you have 2 overcards after the flop. Very often, a loose aggressive player will also miss the flop, and then you can be ahead. On the other hand, even wide maniacs can occasionally hit the nuts, and if they play it like the other hand, this can become a potential problem for you. As always, you should be careful with every hand in poker. Flip side, With the same A and Jack suited versus a good aggressive player who raises 4 to 6 big blinds or more, you may lag behind in range. He may have one of the premium and super premium hands, or a pocket pair, and he wants to have one or two callers, or to have all the players folding. In any case, you probably lag behind. Sometimes you're significantly behind because there are many hands that are not weaker, and even better than A-Jack suited. Monitoring of players. In the TV series Tilt, 2005, one of the main characters, Eddie Toner, notes that if you look at the player within the first hour, you will see who he wants to be. If you watch him for hour after hour, you will start to realize who he really is. There is some truth to that. And the difference is that 15 minutes will be enough. Monitor carefully and don't be fooled by the player who demonstrates his strength at the beginning of the tournament by big bets and aggressive behavior. After time, he may give up. Chill out, monitor him, and find out what kind of player he really is. When the time comes, play against him. Our conclusion for today is that hand selection is the most important part of the game. Determination of range that is suitable for you, flexibility, the ability to play in different situations, and bluff at the appropriate time, all these things make you a good poker player. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. Good luck at the tables and see you in our website, cardmates.net.